What's going on, Jerome's? So week 10 of the NFL schedule, it's already week 10. It's crazy. Is upon us, and it's time for the least accurate week 10 NFL picks. Sure to go wrong for entertainment purposes only. And again, it's very stupid to bet the entire card. You got to be very strategic about where you, doesn't matter. But we did go 8-5 last week. We were 57, 65-6 on the season. So that 45.2% winning percentage. But we'll try to do better this week. First up, over in Germany, for whatever reason. So we got the Colts and the Patriots. Now, it does just seem like the Patriots, all the rumors about, hey, is Belichick going to get punted if he loses this game? Gerard Mayo going to take over? It's possible. I think Indianapolis has a lot of momentum. I think that they're playing some good football right now, even without Anthony Richardson. I think Shane Steichen was doing a great job there. So I actually think that they're frisky. I actually think that Indianapolis has everything to play for. I think that the Patriots may just be going through the motions at this point, waiting until Belichick just he got home. And even though Belichick is revered, I mean, look at the way that the Raiders players celebrated Josh McDaniels being gone. I think they'll do the same with Belichick. So I actually think that Indianapolis goes out there and they starch the Patriots over in Germany. The noon games. So I like this game a lot. So Houston on the road against Cincy, getting a touchdown in some spots. 6.5, 7 if you pay a little bit of juice. Otherwise, you find a good book. But the Bengals are going to be without T. Higgins, as well as Jamar Chase is dinged up with that back issue. And Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow, yes, but, I mean, C.J. Stroud is getting the damn thing done. And even though no Nico Collins, no Damon Pierce, even though that might be a blessing. So I think that Houston actually rolls in, and I think Tank Dell has a game. I think that C.J. Stroud has himself a ball game, and I think D'Amico Ryans and company get themselves a big-time signature win on the road in the Queen City. Give me Houston and the points. And also, give me Houston money line. Just a couple of jelly beans on there, too. New Orleans at Minnesota, very easy. So you can get the Vikings plus 2.5, plus 3 in some spots. I don't know why people buy into the Saints. Again, this isn't anything about the Saints, because look at how they operated against the Bears last week at home. But the Vikings, I understand. People think, okay, the Pastronaut was a one-week wonder, whatever. But, I mean, the rest of the team, I mean, the defense is improving. The defense is going to have a great game against the Saints, as well as hopefully they'll be able to get the ball going on the ground. Darisaw returns. So I think there's a lot to like here. So not only do I like the Vikings on the points, give me Vikings money line as well. Actually, I have a little insight. I have a money line parlay with the Texans and the Vikings, and actually just those two. I think it's a pretty good spot. Anyways, next up. Vikings win the Packers-Steelers game, too. Packers on the road against the Steelers, Steel City. Now, people's like, oh, here come the Packers. Oh, they beat the Rams with Brett Rippon at frickin' quarterback now. But Steelers, I mean, 3.5 points is a lot to lay with the Matt Canada team, except I actually do think that they get things going. For whatever reason, the Packers defense under Barry this year has been very poop, even though they got all the talent in the world in the front seven. But I think that the pass rush gets to Jordan Love. I think he makes mistakes. I think the Steelers end up winning like a 20-10 type game. There you go. Next up, Tennessee at the Buccaneers. I mean, this may go down as like whatever, like one of the most whatever matchups that you can find. But Tennessee, Will Levis, game 2 against the Steelers was, but they do have 10 days. Get ready for Tampa Bay. And the Bucs, I don't know. Like, I obviously don't believe in Baker. They're sort of in purgatory right now where they're kind of good, kind of bad, but also kind of old. So I think that there will be a cleansing there in Tampa Bay. I do think the Bulls will get fired. I think that the remnants of the BA era will be washed out, and I think they'll start anew. But Tennessee, I mean, Derrick Henry's still looking good, and Treylon Burks and company. So I think that I do think that Will Levis has himself a nice ball game, has a nice bounce back. Maybe not the 4-touchdown game like he had against the Falcons, but I think he gets it done against the NFC South again. San Francisco, Jacksonville. Ooh. That's right. So my 3-team parlay, moneyline parlay is Houston, Minnesota, and Jacksonville, because I think that they hand the Niners their 4th loss in a row. I really do. Where Jacksonville is playing great ball right now, has all the momentum, a big-time winning streak. Trevor Lawrence is coming into his own. Etienne is a stud, and Josh Allen, the good one, is fantastic at rushing the passer. And San Francisco, I mean, even though they get Debo back, but I don't know. I think this will be a near-run thing. But I do think that Jacksonville gets themselves a statement win against San Francisco. Next up, Last of the noon games. So you got the new Browns on the road taking on the old Browns. There you go. So Cleveland getting 6.5 points, 7 in some spots, but we'll go with the 6.5. Baltimore's playing some of the best ball in the league. I think I do think that the Ravens cover in this spot, but I do think that Cleveland keeps it relatively close. This might be like an ugly, low-scoring game. Divisional rivals, yes. Great defenses on both sides, yes, especially with Cleveland. But this is gonna be like a 17-10 type game because I just don't believe in Cleveland's offense. Even though, yes, Amari's putting up great numbers. Our guy, Jerome Ford, is getting it done. But Deshaun, it's hard to gauge how good this team is based off the Arizona game last week. All right, so for late games, speaking of Arizona, they are hosting Atlanta, and Kyler Murray is back. And I think they get a little bit of a boost. I think that when Arizona had Dobbs, competent quarterbacking, I think that they were always frisky. Like, they weren't just roll over and die type team. But last week with Clayton Tune, but Kyler back, I think, gives them a boost. Atlanta is completely inept in terms of an offense, just completely underachieving. So I like Arizona in this spot. I like them with the points. I actually like them on the money line too. The Lions at the Chargers. I think the Chargers rise up in this spot, and even though the crowd is going to be a lot of Detroit fans making the trip out to La La Land, I do think that the Chargers cover in this spot, getting the 3 points at home. Well, home. And I think they got a little something for Detroit, which would be nice to see as a Vikings fan. Then you got the Giants and the Cowboys. 17 is a lot, but the Giants, Tommy DeVito, no Darren Waller, Saquon's dinged up. Defensively, I think Dallas. Dallas is pissed off about that Eagles game, so I think they come in and make a statement. This is going to be like a 27-3 type game. So even though 17 points is a lot in the NFL, we're still going to fade them. Lastly, so Washington against Washington. The Commies playing good, tough football. Like, even the games that they lose, they're not getting blown out in. And yes, they have a lot of deficiencies, especially along the offensive line. They got rid of Sweat and Young, but I still think that they can bring a little bit of a pass rush. And Seattle, Seattle got starched last week by the Ravens. They can put up points, but I feel like they're really close to fracturing. I can't really explain it, but it feels like that's so. But I do think that Seattle does win this game. But, it's going to be like a 27-24 type ball game. Sunday Night Football, for whatever reason, the Jets are still on there facing the Raiders. Now, the Raiders got a big-time boost last week after McDaniels got fired, and then they took it to the Giants. I think that this will be like a sort of ugly, low-scoring rock fight. I think this will be like a 13-10 type game, but I do think that the Raiders will come out on top. I think that Max Crosby is just undeniable, especially against that Jets very poopy offensive line. So I think Zach Wilson, who's played relatively okay the last couple weeks, but I think Max Crosby gets home, maybe puts up a couple sacks, maybe a strip sack, and the Raiders win and cover in the spot. Lastly, Monday Night Football. So a matchup that looked a lot better before the start of the season. Actually, no, it still looked terrible. But I don't believe in the Bills. Like, the Bills have this uncanny knack of playing up or down to their competition. And the Broncos aren't bad enough to completely bottom out, but also they're not good. But I do think that they keep it relatively close. I think this will be a 26-20 type game. Maybe it's a backdoor cover situation for the Broncos, but they still get it done getting the touchdown on the road in prime time. But that's it. That's, again, entertainment purposes only. Week 10 picks sure to go wrong. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.